Hey guys, Infidel 1258. Today we've got a fun video. I want to dream with you guys about what SPS could do in the next bull market. What's the crazy possibility with this thing for a price point? I am willing to dream big here. I wonder if you guys are too. I want to explain why I don't believe market cap will limit the FOMO that will happen during the next bull market. And I don't believe that it truly justifies reduced price targets for reasons we'll get into in this video. So I hope you'll stick around for this one. It's going to be a fun one. We're going to imagine, there's going to be comments on this video. They're going to say, I'm clueless. I don't get it. Market cap proves you wrong. These targets are not reasonable. But if you want to dream with me about where SPS could go, where Splinterlands could take us, and how it might change our lives, you're going to want to stick around for this one. Before we get into that, though, I need to say shout out to Splintercoach.com. Splintercoach.com will check your personalized battle history. You can see data on what summoners you're using, which monsters you're using, how often you're winning, and under what rule sets and which mana caps. And information is absolutely entertaining to look at, but it's also powerful because it can help you win more when you see errors you're making, ways you can improve. And that unlocks more reward for the same time and attention. And so I think you're going to enjoy it. $5 a month gets you the access to the service, and I'm definitely enjoying it. Approaching 3 months now of me tracking this data. And some of the takeaways that I've quickly noticed absolutely is that there were ways I was failing to use Kelly properly. I've now grown and used her, and she's the most used summoner on my team. And I have so many options to work with. Lily Shieldpaw, very powerful, far more powerful than I think than our community originally thought. People were saying, you know, nothing compared to Kitty, garbage compared to Kitty, you know, Lily Shieldpaw, really like not good, but it's definitely proved powerful, successful, and useful in many circumstances. Immortalis has blown me away. Yasik is another one where I was really getting absolutely slain using, and I've pulled into a place where I'm using it and winning more than I lose with Conqueror Yasik, but that is a product of the power of this tool. I learned some of the ways I was failing, and I've grown in how I use him. So that, again, Splintercoach.com, fun to use, powerful to rely upon. Check it out, $5 a month. So yeah, man, SPS. I have said before, and I strongly believe that Splinterlands is a video game that rewards you for your time and attention. And I think that this game will change lives. I believe it's already changed my life. And I actually look forward to a moment when that will retire me. Because I think the bags that have been packed and are being packed, even now, are going to multiply in values because of the bull market to come, because of the joy and excitement of this game, because of the growth and the development and the new experiences that are being brought, whether it's land or tower defense or GLG or, you know, even other games that are touching our ecosystem, such as Golem Overlord, Splinter Forge, and the albeit small communities that those would be representing currently can, I believe, grow in a meaningful way. So I have high hopes for what this is at its core, because I believe this game is fun and it has a future. And so if those two things are real, then I think we can get super excited about tokenomics around SPS. And that's where my head's at. If you disagree that this game is fun or that it has a future, you might want to just disregard any sort of predictions around the SPS, because I'm going to speak about fundamental considerations, but then I'm simultaneously going to move into a place where we're going to talk about how fundamentals don't by themselves limit price targets for coins like SPS. Those two things can be true at the same time. Fundamentals matter. You can look at games like, who are the developers of the game? What are the tokenomics of the token? How many were issued? How many are going to be issued? How were they issued? What's the development plan for the game, and how likely is that to succeed? How is the growth of the player base? I mean, all of these things I do and have looked at within Splinterlands, and I come away with a positive, optimistic view of where we are aiming and how we might get there. So that's a fundamental argument. And I didn't properly unpack it all because I don't want to spend 4 hours in this one video. But I have already, in so many ways, across so many videos, articulated why I'm confident in this game. And that is the fundamental argument for why SPS could go up. Because it is fun. This game is fun and it does have a future, and I think we'll see growth in player base, and that player base will need SPS as well as cards to extract the value for the rewarding experience of playing the battles and receiving the rewards that people are going to desire because they're appreciating. So that's a path through fundamental considerations that would lead you to a place of confidence in the token of SPS. But that's only one element of how tokens appreciate. An analysis of the fundamental considerations that would justify appreciation is thoughtful, important, but only one part of why tokens go up in value. The second and more in the short term, and to reach crazy peaks, the more important factor is frustratingly just FOMO, bull market sentiment, and fear of missing out. So when we see tokens like, oh man, pick a token. Dogecoin is one that happened to recently go crazy, right? Like, was that last year? Let's see, 12 months. Yeah, within 12 months, this thing went up. That's only 13.9 cents. Was that the big one? Okay, look at this. Back in May 7th of 2021, 74 cents, and I'm pretty sure it was higher than that if I could zoom in real close. I think it was higher than that. 74 cents. 74 cents, guys. And Dogecoin's useless, and you know that. Like, I mean, some of you love Dogecoin and you think it's going to be the next Bitcoin. I've heard people say things like that. I don't mean to slander any coin, but this is not truly offering anything substantive over and above a Litecoin, a Bitcoin, especially with second layer solutions that can come, with any of the other blockchains. This is not a fundamentally sound investment. It happens to be spoken about by Musk as part of what, this was a coin that was pumped by Musk. And so, certain voices and a community of people who are interested and who just won't give up on a project can help it be sustained and grow. What happens though is when that, let's say, those embers of a solid fire are there, present, prepared to be reignited with fresh fuel, metaphorically speaking, fresh fuel being new money, new people that are coming into the marketplace of cryptocurrency, and then they get captured by the Dogecoin mania, the meme of Dogecoin. They follow Musk and they hear him talking about it, how he's going to accept it for Teslas, etc. It's like that stuff gathers that there's embers of a community in a token like Doge, in the same way that there are for your favorite token. And those embers can absolutely reignite into a massive flame. And they did here in May of 2021. And that was a product of a perfect set of circumstances, social media coverage, big voices speaking out about it, that pre-existing community that was into it and attending to it and trading it, the meme functionality, and like people just absolutely memeing Doge was a product of how it grew too. And did it fundamentally, were there large justifications that made sense for it to go hockey stick parabolic in that moment from December of 2020 or like a 0.4 of a penny to 5 months later, 75 cents? Of course, there is nothing under the sun you can say to explain that leap in price point except FOMO. And when we talk about market cap, and we look at how it analyzes total supply, and you look at the price point times the total supply, and then that's how you calculate market cap. This is the explanation people will say when they try and argue against an SPS, when they try and argue against tokens. Yeah, let's just focus on SPS. I could make it a broader conversation. Let's just focus in on SPS. People will say, and we're going to read some comments here in a bit. They'll say SPS, there's too many tokens. Total supply, 200 million. There's too many tokens. Circulating supply, 100 million. It can't possibly reach a point where it exceeds 5 cents, 10 cents, 50 cents again. Yes, it was there at one point. It'll never return. Here we are over here. This was 80 cents. This is 90 cents. I think originally in the first opening hours or days, it was like $1.20 or something like that. Right there, all-time high, $1.26. It'll never reach there again. That was when there was almost no supply. It can't reach there. There's too many coins in circulation, too many total coins possible. So the argument is market cap, if it was $5, you would be bigger than Bitcoin. And I say to you, first and foremost, such arguments are based upon an idea that for some reason in your mind, SPS would spike by itself. SPS would just spike in isolation and no other token would go running? Wrong. No, of course. If SPS is going from 2 cents to $2, that's in a moment where the bull market of altcoins is absolutely soaring and the total market cap, something crazy. Like what's the all-time high on the market cap? The all-time high in the total market cap, $3 trillion. Why couldn't we make it to 30 trillion? Why couldn't you say, oh, there's not that much money. Guys, stop thinking about how much money is in these things. When you read market cap, when you hear that there's $569 billion in Bitcoin, don't think about it as $569 billion. It's not that way. Because of the tokens that were created from Bitcoin, for instance, 3 million, 4 million of them haven't been moved in years, meaning the owners are dead. They've lost their keys. They're never going to be moved, probably. What does that mean? When we look at when we analyze price from the perspective of a total market cap, we look at the total supply and we say to ourselves, the last trading price times the number of tokens that exist equals a full market cap of X. But the current price of $30,000 per Bitcoin, that is not on the basis of 17 million Bitcoin having been sold in the last day, right? So we look at the volume today is only $6 billion on this thing. And yet the market cap is almost 600 billion. So we've sold a fraction, I think it's 1% of the total market cap today, which means that 1% volume on a day can move a needle in a substantial way for a market cap. And if you begin to understand that tokens like Bitcoin, like SPS, like whatever coin you love, most of the tokens are not actually liquid. This is true for DEC too. Most of the tokens are not actually liquid, even if there are 5 billion DEC tokens, which dark energy crystal tokens in Splinterlands, which is roughly true. Aggie recently spoke in the town square that he figures there's about 2 billion that are actually available, like for sale or trade, that aren't tied up in some way or another. And if you recognize that fact, that means that when we analyze market cap, we shouldn't even really think about it as if there's, 17, the circulating supply on Bitcoin, 19 million. There's not actually 19 million circulating then, right? Some percentage of these are never moved, never have been, never will be. Same with SPS, and even with SPS, you then get staking lockup. So you got multiple weeks for tokens to come back into a tradable moment if they were even going to. Bring that in combination with what we talked about with Doge, where memes and a moment of FOMO can be so dramatic that the prices spike unreasonably, in part because there's truly a lack of supply in that moment, or there's an inadequacy of supply, or in that moment, the desire, the need, the buying pressure. Because it really only takes 1% of the volume to sustain the market cap of Bitcoin. If we did double that, triple that tomorrow or this week, you'd see a massive price spike in this token. And you say, oh, that's a lot of money. Of course, it's a lot of money. But I'm talking about a bull market where all boats are rising as the tide rises. That's what they say. When the tide rises, all the boats rise. It's not like you might say, well, certain tokens are crap. They don't have they have terrible tokenomics, or there's nothing sort of fundamental backing them. I'm not. Again, that's why we started the conversation talking about fundamentals and saying they have a place, and arguing and articulating that SPS has good fundamentals. There's reason to believe in it. I believe in the fundamentals of SPS, but that's a totally separate conversation than what can happen in a bull market. And when we talk about FOMO, we throw all of this out because, first of all, it's literally such it's pronounced and potent demand that happens in a specific moment at a very particular time when there happens to be a drying up or a cap of some nature on the actual supply. That's what happens. Demand outstrips supply for a day, a week, a month, and then more new money come chasing green candles. And again, for that next day, for that next week, for that next month, you see the demand outstripping supply. But inevitably, what happens in hockey sticks, what happens in parabolic moves, Dogecoin is the best example. Man, this is straight up and straight down. And that's over the course of, this thing began in April 4th, 2021. And the low there is July. 3 months, 2.5 months, 8-9 weeks. We go from 5 cents to 75 cents and back down to 20 cents. That radical change made millionaires and broke millionaires. And I'm telling you that opportunities like that will happen again in the bull market of tomorrow. And I believe that means Splinterlands SPS token, but also Splinterlands assets could be life-changing. I really believe such appreciations are possible. And I really believe more than $1 is likely for SPS. And I know that many of you think, nope, for reasons we've touched on, and I can't possibly fully sort of respond to, but I want to read some comments now because they attempt to respond to these issues around market cap, around critiques that hold back price expectations. This is one comment here from EXS, I guess is how I'm going to say that. And it just came from an hour ago. And it's from one of my videos where I talked about one of the problems from the SPS flywheel. And in that video, if you don't know, I'm going to check it out, guys. I specifically share a conversation that I started in the recent Splinterlands town square. And I asked Aggie and Weirdbeard about whether or not the SPS flywheel might create a scenario where SPS price spikes, driving more and more investment into the liquidity pools because of returns on those investments because they're paid in SPS. And then what that might mean for the creation of DEC. Maybe it stocks our DEC piles in a way that ends up creating a new problem in the next bear market. I think that's possible. It's a concern we should be aware of. Watch the video if you want to know more. In Agrid's responses, we're aware of that. We're thinking about it. We're trying to find solutions. But out of that place and that posture, we have to broach the topic of where could SPS go if the flywheel breaks, if there's a problem with the fly, if it goes too far. So that's why one problem from the SPS flywheel, that's what I'm saying with that title. This is something we should be aware of. If the flywheel works so effectively that it drives SPS price up through the desire to buy more SPS, to burn it, to access DEC, because there's not nearly enough DEC. Like I said, maybe $2 billion. That's $2 million worth of DEC at PEG. That's not enough to satisfy the appetite of Splinterlands players, let alone LP investors. And therefore, that means to create the DEC, to get into the LPs, to receive the massive returns, what people will have to do is buy SPS to burn it, to get the value to move into liquidity pools to get these crazy returns. This is why we could get to a place where people are desperate, buying up every SPS they want. And then when that begins happening, you moving the needle from 2 cents to 4 cents to 8 to 16 to 32. It doesn't take many doubles, guys, to change the financial realm of Splinterlands in a massive way. If we're getting paid 25 cents per SPS and you're getting 5 SPS per win, 6 SPS per win in Champion, you're talking $1.50 per win, 10-15 wins a day. This is potentially life-changing wealth to some people. You can rent the cards or earn those cards for free by playing, or maybe borrow them with Nifty Arcade. You can borrow them for free. I mean, there's paths to acquire these assets that unlock reward that could be life-changing. This could be crazy. And I think you then get this perfect storm of people who want to play the game because they like NFTs. They're hearing about it for the first time. They're seeing an opportunity to receive reward for your time and attention. They're chasing after the cards in order to access the wins, to unlock the SPS. Liquidity pool investors are buying up the SPS that we're earning at higher and higher rates because they're chasing after bull market appreciations on the rewards available in the liquidity pools. And since the payments are paid out on a multiplier of the SPS, so if it's paid on an SPS, so if the SPS doubles or quadruples, that's a doubling or a quadrupling of the return on investment. And so this is where it gets crazy, because it's literally a perfect storm of everyone buying and no one selling. And in such a plus staking, like SPS gets locked into staking for your account, which takes a long period of time, 4 separate weeks to get 100% of whatever you've got currently. This is the path through which we see a total lack of supply, both because of staking, also because of people just absolutely talking diamond hands and never wanting to, I'm never going to sell, it's going to go to 1 million. These talks and these comments will come because people go crazy during FOMO. They stop thinking logically. They're no longer talking about fundamentals, and you're just looking at moon missions. And so we get to a place where the conversation is no longer SPS is good because Splinterlands is interesting. I like where this game is aiming. I'm willing to be reasonable and I want to hold a bag because future. It's more like it's mooning now. Buy. I don't care what the price is today. It's going to be higher tomorrow. That's a different place. Plus liquidity pools driving more of that. Plus the game enjoyment driving more of that. Plus new Ys and fresh investors playing the game to seek after, which drives up all the values also. That's the perfect storm. And with that note, this is the video I was talking about, but here EXis pops in and he goes, hey Dwayne, I have a very logical explanation that justifies SPS over 1, 5, or even 10 in response to all the market capitors FUD. It's a long read, but it's worth the time. And he goes, we all know Axie Infinity. It was one of the most popular crypto games in this space. During November of 2021, its market cap reached 10 billion or 9.78 billion. If Splinterlands were to achieve a similar market cap, it would be priced at $9.50. SPS would be $9.59 per. First of all, let that blow your mind, because I think this game is better than Axie. And I think we absolutely could follow a trajectory that they set. I think we could blow their trajectories out of the water. Now let's move on. So if you believe Splinterlands can become as popular as Axie Infinity did during its bull run, it's definitely achievable depending on how successful you think Splinterlands will become in relation to Axie. During the next bull market, the bull run will determine where that price range is, 1 to 10. The price of the SPS will land. To say Splinterlands will do 1/10, i.e. $1 of what Axie did during the last all-time high, is very conservative in my opinion. I agree. That's why I keep speaking about $1, because I think I want to speak from a people often say I'm too bullish. I'm just permanently bullish, or I don't think about the negative side. I absolutely do, and I speak about SPS as $1 or $2 because I think I'm being super conservative. I actually really do. But I don't want to speak from that perspective because someone will take that comment in isolation. Challenge what you're hearing. Leave comments below that push back on this. If you think I'm wrong, tell me. Never, never, never just run with the advice that you hear online. But that's why I speak about $1 so confidently, because I actually feel it's a lock for me. That's why I am seeking after 1 million. That's why I have 200,000. I hold that confidently despite where the price has been over the last weeks and months. Go on. To say Splinterlands, yeah, we did that. With all that said, below are my reasons why I think Splinterlands is on par or even better than Axie during this epic rise. Why it'll do better than Axie did. Number 1, unlike Axie Infinity, Splinterlands has been a constant leader in the crypto space. Yes. Over the past couple of years, Splinterlands has constantly been in the top 5 most active crypto games on DappRadar. As games have come and gone over the time, Splinterlands maintain a high rank with the most unique active users and wallets within their ecosystems. Yes. This game has been around. It's an OG. It's been through survived bear markets. It is a team that's forward facing and has open door policies, like communicating and articulating what their vision is for where they're aiming at. And I think we even get to see the path that they're walking to get us there. You know what I mean? Like they couldn't be, this team couldn't be more clear. And that is something that most of these games within this space do not provide. So we've been here long, we've been constant, we've been forthright, the team has been clear, and while there have been mistakes along the way, other games can't hold up a candle to the consistency, the reliability, and the scrupulous forthrightness that the Splinterlands team and development have provided. So yes, he's right. We are different. We are set apart within this space. Number 2, in comparison to Axie Infinity, Splinterlands is in a much better position prior to its bull run. I would argue Splinterlands has much more development game, economy, and tokenomics than Axie does even today. I don't know much about Axie, so I can't speak to this one so well, but I absolutely believe that our developers have thought through the economics and tokenomics of our game in a really interesting way. The flywheel is, I truly believe that flywheel is going to work effectively and it's going to change lives. And I've heard people say, Shadow Walking Keys, that millionaires are made in the bear market. They just don't know it yet. I believe that. Number 3, Axie Infinity's downfall came when their token rose so high it priced out new users from the game, which essentially caused its eventual downfall. Splinterlands has addressed those issues with fixed low-fee spellbooks, a rental market, and soulbound card users can earn when playing the game. Yes, and yes. The rental card market, and I would expand on that and add to it Nifty Arcade, which can literally equip you with a full deck of cards, and you don't even pay up front. You just pay some sort of retroactive element of your total winnings from the season before. So there's paths within which, and those are not properly and adequately and fully utilized yet because there hasn't been an appetite, because there aren't moon missions on people's mind right now about this game because we're still in a bear market. So most people who are playing are doing so like they're the diehards. But watch what happens when the SPS price spikes. Nifty Arcade, rental market, card prices will go soaring because everyone now thinks they can become a millionaire. And it's like the people who were here grinding due to the bear, they're going to be the ones who super thrive. But those who come chasing green candles are going to be the ones that are going to drive prices higher. And so I've said this for like 2 years. If you're paying attention to me, you should be playing now, enjoying now, extracting rewards for your time and attention now. He talks about soulbound cards. Don't wait till the bull market to earn them. Start earning them today. But many people won't. You who are listening to us, you already are doing this, I bet. But many people won't. We have less users than we used to. We have less real human players than we used to. People have complained about different elements of the game, and there's a degree of disgruntledness that's present and prevalent right now. That will evaporate. Exuberance will abound as FOMO just grabs us. And you'll see people pouring in, chasing after. I'm kind of, in some sense, pushing back on his point because I actually think our prices of entry will rise too. But I did a video recently where I talked about how even if the price of SPS spiked to say 50 cents or $1, and you can still play the Splinterlands game for a low cost. Gold, middle of gold, you're talking like 1,500 SPS. If it was $1 per SPS, it's $1,500. If it was, I think I said if it was 50 cents an SPS, is about you would reach in that gold tier for about $1,500. And that was gold tier. That was like 2 times earnings, and then. The wild thing is that with the way we've developed our game, you can earn rewards with very little SPS. You will receive fewer multipliers than I will with a bigger bag of SPS, but that shouldn't matter. You can't complain that somebody who has bigger bags, who's invested more time, who's invested more money is going to get more than you. Of course, they're going to get outsized returns over what you're going to get because you haven't put in the time. You haven't put in the money. You either put in time or money or both. But there's no other path to success within Splinterlands, within cryptocurrency, period. So costs will go up during the next bull market, even within Splinterlands. But to his point, we have certain things such as rental markets and, to my point, nifty arcades that will help augment or limit, plus the reward multipliers from the SPS staking requirements, though stringent and demanding, still afford and allow a certain amount of earning potential even at the lowest level. So I agree with this point, and yet there's more explanation I wanted to add there. Number 4, Splinterlands is all the main game mechanics that cause big money to flow into the Axie Infinity and more. Guilds, rental markets, game scholarship, organizations, great tokenomics that would allow all users to earn big money from a single win. When there are higher token prices, not to mention secondary games, land, upcoming land material pools, etc., the liquidity pools coming out of land are going to be game-changing. There's already not enough DEC. Once there's 50 new liquidity pools to match with those different pairs, DEC will evaporate. And as SPS moves from 2 cents to 4 or 8, you'll see a double or a quadruple of the value on the price point of the returns from the liquidity pools. And I promise, I'm absolutely certain of it, that will be a driving factor for how the SPS flywheel grabs hold of our economy. So I agree. He's right. And the tokenomics are exciting. The game is exciting. And yes, we are totally poised to excite and entice outside investors. Number 5, Splinterlands has yet to list any major crypto exchanges, which open up huge possibilities for pumps as it gets listed on bigger and bigger exchanges. I agree, but I also note that when we see lists on big exchanges, what usually happens is there's a price pump as it launches or before, and then what you see is a dip. That's often the case because what happens is you have to put a lot of tokens in their hands in order to even get listed. And you know for a fact they sell into the buying pressure of the new listing. So the other day when XRP was relisted onto Coinbase, there was an immediate spike from like 80 cents to about 90 cents. And it bounced down like within 24, 48 hours because that was sold into probably by Coinbase bag holders. Like probably the team, the Coinbase company had bags and they sold into our exuberance. I bet. I don't know that. I can't prove that, but I would imagine that's true. Yet I do value new big listings from a sustainability, from a broader growth argument. I think bigger crypto exchange listings are important and they do carry huge possibilities for pump. But they all simultaneously can pose a risk for significant falls during the bear market. Nevertheless, I am for it. I'm expecting it, and the new listings will come. Number 6, compared to Axie Infinity, Splinterlands seems to have more going on with direct partnerships with larger companies, and this alone could push it past Axie Infinity. That's an interesting point. I think that's probably true, especially when you look at our ability that's currently just being launched to gamify, to blockchainify your game. Like that's what we're seeing with Chibi Dinos. That's what we're seeing even with GLG. These efforts to essentially bring blockchain to other developers and create these opportunities for a broader audience or a broader developer to be incentivized to partner with us because we've created these solutions. I think that makes a lot of sense. And I think that will translate into future growth, even though it's only budding now. It's only beginning now. It'll flourish later. 7, also keep in mind that in every bull run, all long-lasting projects tend to exceed their previous all-time highs from the prior bull market. So there's no telling just how high Splinterlands could go if it surpasses the success of Axie Infinity. Although $10 plus may be your reach, it is possible. A long-time subscriber and player of Splinterlands, Ty Spirius is his name. Good to see you, buddy. Yeah, man, this is a great comment. I strongly agree with what you said here. And when we talk about $10 plus, let's finish there. Because I talked about, in the intro, I said, where are we going to go? What sort of price targets are we going to reach? To me, $1 is absolutely not a problem. I think very easily, even now, 20x from where we're at is in that 50 cent range. And that would be life-changing for some people, for a lot of people. I got 200,000 SPS. If I was to times that by I'm talking 100 grand US. That's a crazy amount of money from a video game. And I think that's easy. Now, you again might feel, despite all the justifications, that I'm clueless and it's never going to happen. We just have to probably agree to disagree, because I think this game's fun and has a future. I think 50 cents is just so easy. I think $1 is done. I think absolutely 2 to 5 is going to be kind of that place where I'm expecting the next bull market to possibly reach into. And that would put me at a big price point, like from a US dollar perspective, a life-changing amount of money from a video game. And I think a lot of you are in the same or similar boats. You might say, well, I only have 10,000 SPS. I only have 5,000. I only have 1. Guys, 1,000 SPS, 100 SPS, if we go to $5 a pop, could be really crazy. And it's from a video game. So I don't say that out of a posture of therefore ape in or therefore speculate. You should not buy $1 worth of Splinterlands assets if you don't first believe in the fact that this game is fun and it has a future. If you disagree with me there, walk away from the project. I say that with all, like, to try and be so open-handed and open-hearted with like where I see what I would say to a friend if they were standing in front of me. But to me, I see that the game is fun and has a future. And therefore, I absolutely see fundamental justifications for the $2 to $5 price point range. That's fundamental. Again, remember, there's fundamental justifications, reasons. I can paint you a picture for why we could get there. The logic and reason could bring us there. I believe that. And then we start talking about the second half of the conversation, which is that FOMO piece. And man, with everything I tried to articulate, and which I also touched on in that prior video, and the video I covered with an hour-long conversation with Steve recently, liquidity pools throw out all logic here. Because being paid in SPS, and because of how the flywheel works, going from SPS to DEC and not backwards, means that we will see these returns on these DEC DAI and DEC BUSD, these returns, these APRs going from 15% to 150%. And that will then come down because, see, that would happen. Let's start there. It will happen because SPS is the reward with which you receive. And therefore the price of SPS has an implication or decides what the APR is. At a 2-cent SPS, you're getting 15% here. If it's a 4-cent SPS, you get double. It'd be a 30% return. If you get an 8-cent SPS, it's a 60% return, etc., etc., etc. Now, there's one complicating factor. As this APR goes up, the liquidity provided within the pool will grow because more and more people will chase after those returns. The bigger the pool, the more liquidity in that pool, the more hands that are getting a piece of the pie. And so that then pushes the APR down from an individual, because there's only so much share for every dollar in. So that is the push and shove. That is the give and take of this conversation. But if SPS doubles, if SPS goes parabolic, as we showed that chart with Doge, something like that happening, this could happen over 5, 6, 8 weeks and be so radical and so quick that what ends up happening is all DC gets bought up. It's tied up in land. It's tied up in people's wallets that aren't even paying attention anymore. It's tied up in liquidity pools because people are chasing after these increasingly higher and higher APRs from these stable coin returns, because DAI and DEC are essentially two stable coins. I say essentially because DEC could theoretically fall, but in the context I'm describing, in the moment I'm describing, during a bull market moment, I think DEC stays hard at that peg place. So how do they get in? They see these juicy returns. How do they get in? They do it by selling their SPS. They buy SPS because there's a ton of SPS in the marketplace. It's easy to acquire. And they come in here and they click on convert, and they just go ahead and translate whatever amount of SPS that they just bought into DEC, creating new DEC to then enter into those pools so that they can receive those crazy returns. And that is the destructive power, but also the money creating power, the crazy bull market moment that the flywheel could generate. And that's how external money gets this thing going crazy. And then the internal market starts pointing out on Twitter and YouTube saying, look at how much money I'm getting paid for every single battle in Splinterlands, because every single battle I'm getting 5 SPS a champion, and now the price is 50 cents. And then you start sparking not just liquidity pool investors, like the economics individuals, but you start getting the gamers who are paying attention to, to NFT blockchain-based gaming and want to see a game where they can actually collect assets to extract value and rewards. Where, look, on this one, I got 6.8 forward SPS for that win. Times that by $1. $7 a battle. You think that's not going to spark 200,000 new players overnight? I'm telling you, it can. And that's how we start getting Axie to this Axie place where $1, $2, I feel really confident about. $5, I feel possible, and it starts to get a little bit like I feel like I'm dreaming a bit. But $10, $20, I think these numbers are theoretically possible because you throw out logic. It's not about logic. It's about that FOMO. It's about this perfect moment where supply dries up because of a variety of explanations and moments and things that I already explained that I'll continue to unpack in the future videos, because that's the articulation of the real interesting thing here in Splinterlands. Why this is different. But the drying up of supply combined with a particular day, week, or month where there's an insane appetite and desire to have as much resources and assets from this space as is possible. That combination can be very short-lived, but that moment of tension between supply and demand create parabolic moves that make zero fundamental sense. That's how we get into $10. That's how we theoretically go beyond. And it doesn't have any limit due to market cap because of reasons explained before and reasons I'll probably have to defend again in the future. Man, coins go crazy places. SPS is an excellent token. This game is an exciting, revolutionary opportunity. I hope you're paying attention. And if you are, like and subscribe. If you enjoy this content, can show me you do by dropping comments, give me that thumbs up, and subscribing to the channel. And lastly, if you feel any of this makes sense and there's possible truth to what I'm saying, forget about certainty. Don't make your decision based on either I'm 100% right or 100% wrong. Understand that these things are probabilities, and there might be some chance I'm right, even if you think I'm probably wrong. What would it take for you to just enjoy this game for the next 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year, and just wait and see whether this is possible? Because I feel strongly that what I've raised here for you is possible. And what would it mean for you if you could earn during that period of time soulbound cards that will one day be valued at something? SPS that was paid to you for free while you played this fun and entertaining video game that later could have a high price tag and give you some real world benefit. The thing here is the game's fun. Enjoy it for its own sake and see where that takes you. But also challenge this topic of today. Does this game have a future? Are these targets realistic for some point in the future? I want to hear comments below. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Have an amazing day. God bless.